Good afternoon, you wee bastards, and welcome back to War Thunder with Koala. Well, today we're discussing the newly announced top tier premium jetpacks that have been announced coming in update 1.85. Yes, that's right, there'll be noobs in top tier jets buying their way past the grind. We can all get mad at Gaijin, or we can embrace it and chat about it civilly. But either way, they're coming. The pre-orders are available, I know several of my viewers have already bought them, and I'm sure hundreds if not thousands of players will. So today we're going to discuss the issue and then discuss the premium packs themselves. I'll leave timestamps on screen and in the description so you can skip to certain parts of the video if you wish. So what exactly is happening? I mean, Gaijin said there would never be premium jet aircraft in War Thunder, but well, you know, Gaijin says never to a lot of things, like modern tanks, helicopters, capital ships, naval forces, or supersonic jets with air-to-air missiles. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not hating on Gaijin here, and nor should you lads be. Gaijin knows that as soon as they say it's possible for the future, nobody will ever shut up about when is it coming, when is it coming. It's a smarter decision for them to just deny the possibility of something that they're not willing to work on at the present time, and then amend that decision in future if and when they do feel they can implement it into the game. What does that mean for us? Well, when Gaijin says never, you lads should be hearing, it's not our priority right now, but in the future that may change. If you think about it, we can see a pattern here. In patch 1.71, when the first rank 6 ground vehicles came into War Thunder, we also saw our first top-end matchmaking premium, the Soviet Object 120 Tehran, which at the time was only 0.3 battle rating away from the top tier tanks, the MBT/KPZ-70, the T-64A and the Chieftain Mark 10. In time, the battle ratings changed, but then before long we had the M1 Abrams, Leopard 2A4 and T-80B, and now we also see more top tier premiums, first the XM1s, then the T-55AM1 and the Leopard L44, soon to be joined by the Shot Karl Dalet. Now we're also extending the top tier for aircraft up to the supersonic era, which is basically the aircraft equivalent of composite armor or ERA for tanks, and we're also seeing the first premium aircraft up near the top end coming to the game. This by itself, in my opinion, is not a bad thing. When the top tier moves up one, the premiums can move up one. This allows new players who came specifically for the top-end vehicles to actually have a chance of getting them, and at least experiencing that part of the game. Remember that anybody who wants an F100D will still have to grind their way through an entire tech tree of P-47s and P-51s, F-80s and F-86s in order to actually get there. Plus all the bombers they'll have to go through as well. You cannot just buy your way into the top-end tech tree, you just experience that matchmaker in a vehicle of that tier. Now this doesn't mean that I'm completely okay with the way Gaijin's chosen to go about this. For one, we're going to have the exact same problem that we had with the XM1 when it was first introduced, in which the inexperienced players in their shiny new premiums were only on one team, thus unbalancing things severely. To explain it in the simplest way, an inexperienced player who does not know the nuances of gameplay at top tier is a liability to his team, as he's unlikely to do as well on average as an experienced player who spent the hundreds if not thousands of hours grinding his way up through the game the long way. If only one team has those inexperienced players and the other team does not, then the team that has them is severely handicapped and is going to lose. This is what happened in patch 1.79, and it's exactly what we're going to see happen in jet battles this patch. Now, as I've brought up so many times before, the decision for Gaijin to change the team-ups for jet battles was, in my opinion, and many other players I know, a very bad one. We used to have the Americans, British, Japanese, and sometimes French on one side, and the Soviets, Germans, Italians, and sometimes French on the other. This was balanced as it divided the number of bomber aircraft and fighter aircraft across both teams, and saw roughly equal win ratios. It was also at least partly realistic, with the East German MiG-15s and older World War II based jets like the Me-262s or 163 Comet fighting alongside the Soviets against the American Sabres. Of course the CL-13 was an issue, as its West German should have been fighting with NATO, but that was there for balancing. Now, I have no idea why Gaijin changed things, but these days the standard full nation matchmaker is US and Soviets together, I know, how stupid does that sound, along with the British and French, fighting against the Germans, Italians and Japanese, like World War II never bloody ended. This means that the non-American team has the two best Sabre variants of the game, and is completely devoid of bombers, while the other team has predominantly inferior jets and half their team made up of bomber aircraft. There's also the relatively common matches of just America and Britain versus the Soviet Union, and these are, well, Sabres are meta, MiGs are not, but this matchup is still substantially more balanced, and even it is not exactly perfect. Now, which nations are getting top tier premium jets for inexperienced pilots to buy their way to? The USSR, the US, and the UK. Great idea, Gaijin. But yeah. In the Soviets versus Americans and British matchup that I just mentioned, everything should be quite alright, if not more balanced than it is right now. But in a full nation game, the Axis team is going to absolutely ruffle stomp. No longer will they have superior jets. I mean, the F-100D, MiG-15PT, and Javelin Mach 9 are going to be perhaps 10.0, maybe 9.7 for the Javelin, and still fight current jets at 9.0. But the German, Japanese, and Italian team will still be devoid of bombers and inexperienced pilots in premium jets they don't know how to use. This needs fixing. ASAP. This cannot come to the game, this patch. It will ruin things. I'm sure there will be plenty of tankers who don't focus on jets, eager to begin grinding top tier aircraft now that we're making steps towards the modern era, along with players who have long since given up grinding aircraft because, in my honest opinion, as a player who's played everything, Air RB is the more skill-intensive game mode than Tank RB. No offense to anybody, of course. We'll have a substantial amount of people buying these jets just because they can, because it presents them an easy route to top tier, and if we want things to be remotely balanced, we need the matchmaker to return to how it used to be, as well as giving Germany, Italy, Japan and France their own premium and rank 6 jets. I'm sure the latter will end up happening next March when patch 1.87 arrives, and if it does, I'll be happy. As far as dealing with the now there are noobs in top tier jets argument, if they're balanced across the teams, it just means more food for me. This will only help me grind out my F-100D or MiG-15PT because I can farm all the idiots playing the top tier jets they don't know how to use, so I'm really not too worried about it, but it needs to be balanced, and I said this about the XM1 and Gaijin listened. I implore Gaijin to apply the same balance here, please. You know you want to as well. I mean, ME262HG2 anyone? Actually, that may not be what ends up happening, and I'll tell you why. None of these aircraft are extremely unique compared to what we already see in the tech tree. The Americans are receiving the F-86 F-35 Sabre, which is exactly the same as the current in-game vehicle. The Soviets are getting the MiG-15bis ISH, which will be a standard MiG-15bis, but with those fantastic looking inclined rocket pods. The British are receiving the Meteor F Mark 8 Reaper, which, like the Soviets, is a simple rehashing of something already seen in the tech tree with some increased ground attack capability. The Reaper can carry twice the ordnance loadout of the tech tree Meteor F8, and therefore might be the most worthwhile of the bunch, seeing as Britain's actual top tier jet, the Hunter F1, is the only top-end jet fighter for any nation with no ordnance carrying capability. Americans have the Sabres and Furies, Russia has the MiGs with Tiny Ivans, Germany has the Sabre, Japan has the Sabre. Oh god, that's an old joke. Italy, when their tanks finally get here, has the G91R, and France has the Mystery 2C. Britain has the Gloucester Meteor? The Sea Venom? Ugh. It's actually this choice for the British, however, that surprises me. See, while the other two premiums are copies of Tech Tree 9.0s, the Brit premium is a copy-paste 8.0, and a few more RP3s isn't going to bring it up to 9.0. However, the Sapphire Meteor, a Meteor F8 with the improved Armstrong-Siddeley Sapphire engines, would have been more on par with the other nations' premiums. People have questioned in the past the purpose of making this a fully separate researchable plane, the argument being that it doesn't differ too much from the current F8, and I've suggested that perhaps it could be made a limited time unlockable like the Soviets' Lavochkin LA-174, a near copy-paste LA-15 which is actually slightly worse and can only be researched during special events. Perhaps a better idea would be to replace the current F8 with the Sapphire and make the F8 itself the limited time, as like the LA-174 it would be slightly worse than its regular counterpart. But now, I think making the Sapphire the British premium jet, perhaps at 8.7 or 8.3 depending on just how much of an improvement those engines are, could have been a way to more diversify what we're getting. At the moment, all three premium jets, besides the ground pounding bonuses, are simply reskinned versions of planes currently available in the tree. Basically, you're spending the price of a premium bundle $50 US for a skin and double rewards. In my opinion, this is why I don't believe these packs to be worth buying, unless you really are desperate to skip the grind to tier 5 planes, as a 9.0 jet talisman will net you the same research bonus, but for only 2300 golden eagles, which is less than half the price of a bundle. Of course, each premium pack does also come with 2000 golden eagles, almost enough to talisman a plane itself, as well as 2 weeks premium time and a unique title and decal, standard fare for premium packs. 2300 GE for a talisman on a 9.0 jet like the F2 Sabre or MiG-17, both better planes than the F-35 or MiG-15bis ISH, keep in mind we're talking for grinding purposes, plus 2000 GE that comes with the pack and 15 days premium time, which costs just under 1200 golden eagles. That's around 5500 GE, which will cost you $28 US. Basically now you're paying the extra $22 for a skin, title and decal, and the plane you're getting is not going to be as lucrative, at least in air battles, if you're grinding out F-100s or MiG-19s in ground battles you're a lunatic, as the current top tier jets, which, seeing as they've been around for 6 years, I feel like a lot of players have already. Now, I love my 20mm cannons on my F2 model Sabre, I can't stand the MiG-15bis, I enjoy the MiG-17 so much more, and I'd rather grind out a Javelin with a Hunter than an 8.0 Meteor. I can go and download some epic skins off of War Thunder Live, I have Gaijin's official content creator title, and I'm not gonna be paying $22 US for a damn decal. Yeah, I know what I'll be doing. If the packs had been, say, the Sapphire Meteor, American F-40 Sabre perhaps, or even the US Navy's FJ2 or 3 Furies, and some equivalent for the Russians, I'm not quite sure what, then I might have reconsidered. But no, for a simple reskin jet, I personally am not willing to fork out so much more money than the pack is worth, as we've just worked out. Either that or Gaijin should increase the GE and premium time rewards that are part of these packs. So let's take a look at these aircraft, starting with America's premium jet, the F-86 F-35 Sabre. This is one of the later batches of the North American Sabre jet developed for the US Air Force, discounting the Sabre Dog and its variants, and should have identical performance to the F-86 F-25 Sabre already seen in the tech tree, alongside the Japanese tree's F-86 F-30. The Japanese F-86 F-40 is a different model, using leading-edge wing slats as seen on the A5 model Sabre. This increases turning capability as it retains smooth airflow over the wing at higher angles of attack. The F-30 does not have this and carries the same armament as the F-25 Sabre as well. 6 M3 Browning 50 caliber machine guns and options of 16 high-velocity aircraft rockets or 2 1,000-pound bombs. In-game, the premium F-35 Sabre will also carry the signature markings of the US Air Force European Aerobatics team, known as the Sky Blazers, and also has a unique pilot model with new helmet and flight suit. Gaijin actually states that this variant of the Sabre was equipped with the LABS, or Low Altitude Bombing System, for delivering nuclear weapons at close quarters. But as far as I know, the LABS only came in on the F-86H model Sabres, and not on any of the F models. One thing I will say, despite my previous dispersions on the premium bundle, this skin does look absolutely fantastic. This applies to all the models, they seem to be of extremely high quality, but the Sky Blazer skin really does take my fancy. I'll have to see if the skin is available for download on War Thunder Live. The Soviet premium is the MiG-15bis ISH, which I guess you could all say will be competitive-ish? I had to fit that joke in somewhere. This is the assault modification of the MiG-15 Faggot based on the BIS model and features, as I mentioned earlier, inclined rocket pods angled at 15 degrees down from the horizontal. With 48 rockets in total, this armament may be useful in tank battles. However, despite the fact that the purpose of this modification was increased ground attack capability, I don't see it happening that way in War Thunder. Actually, the inclined pods will likely be more difficult to aim than forward-facing rocket pods, and at the very least they'll take some getting used to, although that uniqueness may be a positive in some players' eyes. You do get more of them than the regular MiG-15bis does, but with the likelihood of missing due to the minus 15 degree angle of attack, you're going to need more to accomplish the same success. This variant of the MiG does see some unique armament in the form of new rockets, but let's be honest, everybody just uses the tiny Ivant anyway. It also has the same guns, the single 37mm and twin 23s. The MiG-15bis is not the greatest performing jet within the game right now. Sabres are meta, and even the MiG-17 doesn't quite compete with the F2, F40 or CL-13A. The MiG-15bis is slower, has an abysmal roll rate, does turn better, but something that worries me is that the rocket pods may significantly hamper its performance further, just as they do on the FJ-4B Fury or, say, SO-4050 Voltor. This is a plane that is designed for ground attack and will be a subpar fighter aircraft, and as I mentioned before, if you're trying to grind out the new Tier 6s in tank battles, God help you. With this in mind, I cannot recommend buying this aircraft, and I certainly advise against pre-ordering it. The third premium jet announced is the British Gloucester Meteor F Mark 8 Reaper, which, like the previous aircraft, is a ground attack variant of an existing jet and will perform identically to it. Maybe the F-35 Sabre does have the LABS, making it a ground attack version of the Sabre, although I think the FJ3 more closely embodied that. Anyway, the Reaper utilises the same Rolls-Royce Derwent engines and quad 20mm armament, the Hispano Mark 5s, but features new reinforced wings capable of carrying significant ordnance. 4 1,000-pound bombs or 24 RP-3 rockets make this a serious ground pounder, and this, in my opinion, is the one thing this aircraft has going for it over the other premiums. While the MiG-15bis ISH does have its fancy inclined rocket pods, you can't beat just having more ordnance than the other guy. If you're a fan of the early Chieftains, Warrior, or have bought the Shot Cal, and you're looking for some seriously powerful cast to go along with it, then this plane might be right up your alley. But keep in mind, if you do want to play top tier tanks, that the Javelin Mark 9 will also be a capable ground pounder. Given that the Meteor F8 currently sits at 8.0, although it could move up to 8.3 to be honest, I do believe that the Reaper will come in at one of these battle ratings as well, and this may make it a decent, if not amazing, grinding premium for the Javelin, given its matchmaker, but that's going to be your secondary reason for ordering it, and if you don't play top tier tanks, I can't recommend this either. Having said that, it does come with an absolutely gorgeous red skin and Grim Reaper decal, so if you do want the aircraft for its unique looks, then what am I to say? More power to you. Anyway lads, that is going to be it for this video on the new jet premiums of update 1.85 Supersonic. I am pumped as hell for tier 6 jets, I can't wait to see what else we might get. I hope you lads are as well. Please let me know your thoughts on everything I've said in this video, and if you have bought one of these premium jetpacks, leave a comment saying which one you picked up and why. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you haven't already as we're trying to reach 10k by the end of this year, and come follow me at all the social media links in the video description below. If you would like to support the channel on Patreon, link is in the description, I thank you very much. Patreon supporters can access unique rewards such as privileges on the Koala Tree, my Discord server, credits in videos, and even the ability to join Dion Albanach, my War Thunder squadron, where you lads could feature in future videos yourselves. I'm sure we'll be doing some tier 6 jet squads next patch, so get pumped for that. Until next time though lads, always remember, keep your bagpipes to hand, keep your kilt on, and I shall see you next video. I say a wee thank you to these lads for supporting me on Patreon. Labvian Wolf, Gisli Gadarson and Dark Recon, you lads are bra. If you wish to join them, come check out the link in the description below.